Good evening, folks, and welcome to Marshall Matt, episode 21. And he was just here. I'm not sure what happened.
Well, I think it's when you swore at him.
I know. I did uncharacteristic of me.
Yeah, it was like that was sailor talk.
I know, that's something I should not. Hey, Brian. All right, I'm just going to turn my volume down. No, I didn't want to do that. That's not what I want to do. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think he just popped in. Um, and here he is, folks. Awesome. You're back. So, I'm not sure what's going on there. Hold on. Not off to
Welcome to another episode of Technical Difficulties.
anyone come here. Yeah, I don't know. Huh. He was in and then he was out. Um, all right, folks. We're just waiting for him to come back in. In the meantime, what can we talk about?
Stevie Ray Vaughan or Hendrix?
Stevie
Who's a better one?
Stevie Ray Vaughan. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to go with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, here he is. All right, how about now? You're, why is what is going on? Why is he getting? Uh,
Okay,
all
so
right.
Alice Cooper or Ozzy Osbourne?
Ooh, I'm gonna have to go with Ozzy. I just the early days of Black Sabbath. Yeah,
I saw him live once, and it was probably one of the best shows I've ever seen.
yeah, their early stuff was just amazing. Yeah, uh, yeah. I Okay. Here's back. Let's try again. See why he's getting kicked out. I swear to God, I'm not kicking him out. I swear to God, I'm not doing it.
All right, Pearl Jam or Soundgarden?
Soundgarden. I wasn't really a huge fan of Pearl Jam. I saw them both. I thought Soundgarden was. I mean, Pearl Jam's first album. There were some good songs on it. After that, I just was never. To me, Alice in Chains was the best of that.
Okay, I got one more for you. Front 242 or Ministry?
Oh, both Chicago Wax Records, man. Now you're right up. That's that's a tough one, man.
Welcome back.
I'm not touching anything.
Are they using a laptop or a phone or an
I
iPad?
I don't know. I don't know.
You want to call them and find out?
I don't know.
Well, we have a word from our sponsor, Bubbly, the refreshing water.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
Yeah.
That is so. Um,
How
I'm
long
not,
before these people from Bubbly actually see the fact that I'm drinking this stuff all the time?
and before they actually will start sending you some money.
Yeah.
You just
You know,
you get
if
Roman.
they send us money, I'll drink it out of my Viking horn.
Roman. Roman. Can you just turn down the volume for me a bit?
Okay.
The volume coming in, not me going out, coming in. How do you turn it down?
Well, I feel like you just turn it down here. You like to hear them
Just lower them.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah.
because if
Okay.
they
Right
lower their
good,
volume, you
good,
can't
good,
hear.
good. Okay. It's just this one's just totally different from mine.
Well,
All right.
Bobby has better speakers.
All right. Thank you.
Is it good?
I'm gonna talk, Renee. Renee, say something.
Hello?
Yeah. There we go. All right. Sweet. Okay. How about now?
Oh, no.
There we go.
All
Good to
right.
go. All right.
We
What'd you do differently? What'd you do?
switched over to Lexi's phone. I don't know. My phone worked last time we did this, and then every time I went on, it would like I'd get there, then it would just freeze you guys, and I'd drop off. I guess.
Yeah, I wasn't touching it. As a matter of fact, the third time I'm like, my hands are back here. I'm not touching anything. I swear. But well, thank
Yeah.
God Lexi's here. So
Yeah. Believe me,
yeah.
said that enough.
Yeah,
Hi, Lexi.
Dean kept saying, "I'm not doing anything."
Yeah, I know. He's like, "Oh, you're here. Good. Wait right here. I'll be right back." And
Yeah,
then he
like
never came
I'm gonna screw around with John. Yeah.
back.
So next time he sees me, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got something for you, Dean. So hi, Lexi. I'm Dean.
Hi.
And this is Renee. I'm the good guy.
Hi.
Renee.
Oh, don't let him fool you. Don't let him
It's
fool
okay.
you.
I'm the good guy too.
Yeah, well,
Obviously,
Opinions vary.
yes.
opinions vary depending on who you're talking to in the community. Right.
Yeah.
Well, we're excited, man. I'm excited to hear about the four themes. I'm excited for you want demo. So I was gonna kind of big guy. I was just gonna let you kind of how you want to introduce four themes for folks who are not aware of it.
All right. Well, last time we talked, and I'm glad that Renee's had no exposure because I'm hoping like I set this up basically for him so he can see the methodology, which was the word that escaped me last time. And what, four themes is. Four themes are a methodology that is a system, way of training, system or methods to train or study a certain activity. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the four themes and I'm going to run through four different aspects of training. Okay. And you see how the four themes themselves can tie in and overlay all these, aspects of training. Okay. So, first thing we're going to work on is positions. Okay. So, when we deal with positions with the four themes, Lexi will get up. Okay? So you guys can hear me all right and everything?
What's that?
Good to go.
You guys hear me
Yeah, I can
good?
hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah.
You can? Okay.
Don't worry about Renee. We really don't care about him.
Oh, it was one of our questions before, anyway. All right, so now when we look at positions in the body, I'm going to start at the top. I can be outside the arm, okay? I can be inside the arm. Now, this will change. Obviously, it's going to do a mirror image for the other side, but I'm just going to hold on and continue on with one side. You just know that, again, I'm inside the arm or I'm outside the arm, okay? So, now if I'm outside the arm, now we look at legs. You guys see down here? Yep. So I'm outside the arm and I'm outside the legs. I'm outside the arm and I'm inside the legs. Okay? Now I'm inside the arms, inside the legs. Are you following me so far on how I'm going over this, whether it's inside or outside?
I'm with you.
Okay. So basically now that's it. All right. As far as I can be outside the arm, outside the legs, which is usually a rounded stance. Now, I want you to understand that this line off of her foot and this arm, this continues on to infinity. If I'm back here, I'm still outside the arms, outside the legs. If I'm still here, I'm inside the arm. The range may change, but it's still the same type of positioning. Okay. So if I want any technique, any weapons that you wanted to use in here, you would use in these four positions. Okay? Do you follow me on that? Any
Oh,
questions?
nope, still with you.
Okay, so you know what I mean with now that's just positions. So we're going to tie that up. We're going to put that away. So you understand how the four themes just went through those positions. Those are the only positions I can be in. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. So let's tie that up, put that one in a little bow off to the side. The next thing I want to work on when I look at the four themes, okay, is target training. If I'm using my bag work or if I'm doing any type of, controls, attacks, I want to use my front hand to the front side of my bag, front hand to the rear side of my bag. Okay. It's a pretty bag, but this is my bag. So any target on this side with my front side of my body to the front side of her body or my bag would be my to front. So everything that I do from my front to front and my front to rear, okay, I want to also do with my rear hand. My rear to front, my rear to rear. You follow me on where we're going, right? I know
Yep.
it sounds so simple, but that's what four themes really is. It is that simple. Now, sometimes when I do my bag work, I'll split this into quadrants and I'll make four. So I have my front to front inside, my front to rear outside, my front to rear inside. I'm sorry, my front to front outside, front to front inside, front to rear inside, front to rear outside. Okay, so now any weapon that you want to use to attack this, be it, any weapon, hand, arm, elbow, wrist, bicep, elbow, torso, shoulder, hip, knee, ankle, foot, anything that comes from the front side of my body to the front side of this bag would be my front to front. Anything that would come in from my rear side, right, my front side to the rear would be my front to rear.
When you say rear,
That's
John, I'm sorry. When you
what's
say
that?
rear, I'm sorry. When you say front to rear, are you meaning because you're going beyond her body?
I'm going to the back side, okay? Because if I stood her like this would be my front, this would be my rear, right? You could call it we call it front to rear. You could call it front back. That's all they are. They're labels. Just a way for you to make sure that if you've done everything, my front side to the front, my rear side to the front, my rear side to the rear, my front side to the rear.
Okay.
You follow what I'm saying?
Now I do. Yeah.
Okay, so now, like I was saying, I will do again, I would split this into quadrants. And I'm just looking at her head. But this would be my front to front inside, my front to front outside, my rear to front inside, my rear to front outside, my rear to rear inside, my rear to rear outside, rear to front, my front to rear inside, front to rear outside, front to front inside, front to front outside. You follow where I'm saying? So now we've split it. There's no other place that I can really attack this target than with one of those uh, examples that we just gave. Am I confusing you, or am you
No, no,
saying?
no, no. I'm following now when you made the clarification of front to back. Yeah. No, I'm good. I'm
Yeah,
good.
yeah, and that's it. We call, and like I said, it's very important not to get hung up on the names, but they are just labels. Front and rear, front and back. Call it, black and white, up and down. It doesn't. All that matters is that you get this side and this side.
Okay.
Okay. Now, so we've done target training and we've done positioning through the four themes. Okay. Any questions on anything on that?
Now yet, Renee.
No, I'm good.
So you're understanding, you're following, because like I said, I want you to see this, especially for you, because I don't think you've seen any of it before. So that's why I'm trying to explain that methodology part.
I'm good.
All right.
Yep.
So now I'm going to do example on how I use it for my footwork. So Lexi's going to hold the camera and she's going to show you down on my feet. So now if I'm doing my footwork, we'll say my lateral stepping, right? I would go front, 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 front foot, front foot. I can go front foot, rear foot. I can go rear foot, front foot. I can go rear foot, rear foot. If I was to do my box stepping, I would go front foot, front foot, front foot, rear foot, rear foot, front foot, rear foot, rear foot. Okay, do you see that?
Yeah, well, no, I didn't realize you guys went in depth as well as into the footwork.
Well, absolutely. That's why, because it's a methodology, it can overlay and lay over anything that you want to do and work on.
Okay. Sorry.
As long as you're getting, if you're getting one, get the other. There's no other way that you can step those two steps without doing one of those combinations that we just did. Most often, when I trained, when I started training, if I wanted to take a left foot, I would always do my left. You know what I mean? My front foot would take that first left step. To be able to move with my rear foot first wasn't something that I was comfortable with, but it was something that I had to develop because I don't know. In the words of Dave Gould, you'll know if you have footwork when you need footwork,
Yeah, Dave
right?
Gould, David Gould.
Well, he is the man, you know. So, okay, we follow
Yeah,
along
that's
with
really
all of
neat.
that, and
Yeah,
you
I
see,
think it's so under. I think it's so undervalued. I mean, well, I don't know this. I just think it. I think it's undervalued. Like for instance, what you just demonstrated there. Yeah, if I'm going to left, okay, left leg goes. I go to right, right leg goes as far as lateral. But like much to your point, man, sneaking that rear foot and then going over. I think that's so devalued. You know what I mean?
it's the functionality. That's where I was trying to get the point across on our last talk. You know, when the functionality of being able to move either foot at either time, at any foot at any time, it prevents that bind. Because sometimes if I say to you, you know, if you try it and you say, I'm going to move my rear foot first, there's almost a bind there where your bind has to think about the signal that it's going to send down. That bind is what can cause you to end up in recovery.
Yeah, there's a
That
gap. You had a
splits,
gap. You had a gap.
right? Absolutely, because you're kind of stuck there for a second. And you haven't done this before because every time you're taking that left step per se, you would step with that left foot to the left because it was most comfortable and it was, you know, most natural. And there was nothing up until now impeding you from taking that step. So you did what was familiar. All the four themes tries to do is show you that the other ways of taking that step.
What's your opinion on? And I don't know if I'm jumping ahead here.
Nope, nope.
Cross stepping, like everybody, it's forbidden. Don't cross step. You know, like what's your opinion on it?
I think everything has its time and its place. You know what I mean? Do I want to be in that position? Not necessarily. You know, unless I'm going there for a specific reason. You know, there's a coil step that comes into play, and you know, I've seen people work at that and use it. Tim was great with that. You know, he crosses his legs a lot, and a lot of the Salat styles and things like that pull that. So you know, if I could see it and I saw it coming, would I try to exploit it? Absolutely. But sometimes you find yourself in places that you don't necessarily want to be, but you end up there, and out of necessity, you'll have to do something. And you know, hopefully, you know you're doing it, and you know you're on borrowed time. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. I mean, your transition better be on point and
I
quick.
don't want to stay there. And the distance is my distance cool enough for me to be able to do that? You know, there's just a lot of questions that go into how did we get here?
Because in Ricketts, like okay, Tottenham Boa, you go to the left, pivot out, two hips on one, whatever you're doing. But sometimes we'll cross because it enables keeping that right leg forward. You know what
Yep,
I mean? So yeah, I think there's time and a place, right?
absolutely. And if you can pull it off, and you know, I heard Boss Rutan one time and just said, "Hey, he pre-pivots his kick." He says, "I turn my foot out first." He goes, "If you see it, who cares? Just try to stop it." You know what I mean? So there's certain times where you know you show that telegraph, if you will, and it, you know, it may not matter.
Yeah, yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff.
I'm not a fan of cross steps. Just,
Yeah, I'm not either. But if I,
but I'll tell you, I remember one time I almost got knocked out, and my feet did cross, and
yep,
it was one of those where you have to like fight your way through it. Took a couple more shots before I got back up, but um, yeah, I find especially with some of the people I play with, it's like they salivate when someone cross steps that close to them, right?
Yeah. So now if you could do that and you knew that they're moving, you could exploit that. You know what I mean? And now you use that as a tactic to get them to show their hand a little. You know, so maybe I would if I knew that you were going to jump at the opportunity and I knew I could get you in your mid jump.
Oh, it's like
100%. Like I'm thinking, like if I, from a safe distance, like say I'm 10 feet away from
Yep.
somebody, and I start doing my fake snaking, cross stepping. If I
Mhm.
start faking that movement when I'm getting closer, that might be the draw that I need to bring someone in.
Absolutely. You know, now you're using it. And that's what I say, that you're using that as a part of your attack. You know, it's all part of your strategy and your attack to bring them in.
awesome.
All right.
Yeah, whatever you want to go with next.
So you see how that is over, like I said, the themes is kind of working as a methodology through those.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to take you through my personal favorite, the meat and potatoes that I feel of the four themes, and that's the motions, using the motions as entries. Okay. So we stand up again. Anything that comes from my outside line towards my center line, okay, is a front motion. Again, hand, arm, wrist, elbow, knee, hip, torso, shoulder. Anything that comes this way towards my center line is a front motion. Anything that comes from my center line out, any weapon that comes from my center line out is a rear motion. Okay. Like I said, it's just the way we labeled it. Well, it's the way Tom labeled it, but this is the way it's just labeled. You could call them anything you want as long as you're doing the other one. So if I'm using the front motion as an entry, I would come in. Now, there's a difference here, okay? When I go, if I'm attacking, I will have almost like a front, right? Front. I went through this into my attack. In a counter state, it's going to be a front, then a front. Remember that thing I showed you with the two in the counter where the lines are connected, the dots are connected, then they're separated? In a counter would be my front, because you stop that. Hopefully in my attack, it's more of a front motion because I'm going straight through. But we'll leave that. Front. Anything that comes in from my outside line in either side, front. Rear motion, okay? Anything that comes from my inside line to outside is my rear motion. Rear to my outside, rear to my inside. So now what happens is if we continue on with the same hand that we faced resistance with, okay, then that would be a continuation. So like I said, front. If I have to switch hands because of resistance, so if I go in this blocks in and I have to switch hands, that would be my front rear. Now, if I start out with my rear motion, continue straight in, my rear. If I start with my rear motion and have to switch off to my other hand, that would be my rear front. So when we start putting these all together, if you followed me through that part?
Yeah.
Yep. All right, cool. So again, any weapon that you come through with, be it your block, straight in, that would be my rear. If I was just coming straight in for a grab, this would still be my rear. If I had the block and come and strike, that would be my rear front. And you go, okay, here's my rear front to the outside the arms, inside the legs. We could bring the positions into this once you follow along and you get, those down, you would start combining and making sure that you're doing your rear front technique from outside the arm, from inside the arm, from inside the arm, from outside the arm. You know what I mean? In or out. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So we understand then where the four themes motions work into our entries.
Correct.
Okay. So any questions on any of that?
Nate?
No. Do we have any questions from the people watching?
I'm looking right now, and there are just some hellos. We got GM Ray Floro, hello. We got Maynard from LA, Eric O'Brien, to infinity and beyond. Brian Mars is saying good evening. Yeah.
Okay. So if we see, like I said, what I want you guys to do is whatever motion and whatever weapon comes in, I don't want to definitely, show you techniques because it's not a system, it's not techniques. It is a methodology for you to use your own tools into whatever you're doing in, training to be able to train. And when I look at demonstrations or things going on. They're gonna do one of these motions. There's gonna be a rear, front, rear. And is it to the inside? Is it to the outside? This is how I can see somebody go through a series of techniques, and I can pick it apart and remember where and how they went through it.
Mm. Okay. Yeah. No. So, in other words, when you mentioned that, obviously methodology, tactic base, and they're not so technique specific. So, in other words, I could be a Thai guy, put my tie in there. I could be a Western boxing, put my stuff in there. I mean,
Because all right, show me, yeah, like if you showed me a tie elbow. Okay, show me, demonstrate a tie elbow for me quick.
Thaiable.
Yeah. Okay, so what was that now?
That was
This
that
was
would
my
have been
front motion,
correct.
correct? Now, if I take this and take it out, this would be my rear motion.
I remember.
So I have it coming front and I have it coming rear.
Right. Okay. We do have a question. Stefan, JKD Concepts. That's the question.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not really, but although Francis Fong gave pretty incredible compliment to Tom that his approach was more JKD than some of the folks that are, I guess, teaching it or whatever.
Yeah. Leo Fong. Yep.
Leo Fong. Not Francis, Leo. So it's good.
Yeah.
So Stefan is JKD Concepts. So I would say no. Right? I mean,
No, it's not JKD, and
no, yeah.
it's not any JCAD concepts, from what I understand, has techniques in it. And this I'm not showing you any technique. That's my key here, is to show you the positions and everything and not throw one technique in there. We could if it helped you understand it better, but I'd like to see, just to see the formatting of what four themes is and insert and put in your techniques.
Right.
What do you like to do?
Right.
If you're driving your knee inside, it's a front motion with your knee. If you're driving it to the outside, but like how often, a lot of people drain their knees, if you will, coming in. So my front motion. Have you seen a lot of knees this way? You know what I mean? Other than the dam. But for its strike. So if I've done it this way, I should do it this way,
Yeah.
to get both.
So
Now,
what?
like I said, you can also break that down even further where you have your quadrants, your front to front, inside, front to front, outside, front to rear, inside, front to rear, outside. If I was going to do head grabs, I would want to get every one of those with my front hand, every one of these with my rear hands, hit from every quadrant and find out how to do, and what's comfortable, what works, what won't work. What time, instead of being there at that moment, bound up that, gee, I don't know if I can make this grab, or how do I have to turn my hand to get this particular grab? If you've been there before and you've worked your controls through the four themes, you'll have one in your toolbox to make that.
Okay, we got a couple. All right. So one question is, what is this? So Maynard, this is the four themes of AMOK. Okay. And there. Okay. What else we got? So quadrants, positioning and movement to utilize different tools.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, Brian. I think we're
You
caught up
know,
on questions. Yeah. Okay. Um, so what about obviously trapping is a play in here, right?
absolutely. Well, your JKD trapping, if you go up in your fighting stance, okay, and the Lexi gets into a fighting stance, okay? So I could do my rear to front trap. All right, this is my trap and monitor. I could do my front to rear. I could do my front to front. I could do my rear to rear. You follow?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
now
yeah.
I've just taken those themes and went through different traps. Now, I could do my front to rear with a trap this way.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the tool is, the weapon is that I'm using. If I did two sticks, then it would be, when I come in like this, okay, and both do a front motion at the same time, one will usually hit first. So this would be my front to rear, or this would be my front to rear. And it really doesn't matter as long as you do the other one. You follow me what I say there?
Yeah, depending on what one lands, right?
Right. If this was this, so this would be my front to rear on this side. Outside, this would be my front to rear on this side. So I have them both. Now I can do, like I said, my rear to rear outside. My rear to rear inside is kind of tricky, but you'd find a way to do that if that's why it produces some thought. That's why I say when I sit there and I work on the bag, sometimes I have to figure out how I'm going to attack that. Oh, here's one for you. If we're in a fighting stance and I want to go rear to rear outside of her leg, how do I do that?
If you're going rear
I
to rear,
know you figure it out,
rear to
because I
rear.
had to.
So rear, you want to go rear to rear outside of
Yep,
her leg.
yep. So I will call this the outside of her leg.
Gotcha.
I want to get my rear leg to her rear leg on the outside.
True. Um,
Okay, but now if you had to go shoot like that in the moment in a fight, you're in a bind.
yeah, I would
Now
get it.
I could come through this way where I smash with
Oh,
my
you put
heel.
rear coming
I
on
could
rear hook.
turn my leg this
Okay.
way. I could come through this way and grab my heel. You see what I'm saying? When you've done it, you find those strikes. Yeah, but they going to be the most comfortable? Are they going to be, your go-to? Not necessarily, but if you've done it before, you'll find it a hell of a lot quicker, especially in recovery, than you will if you've never done it.
Yeah, 100. So
And
this,
you'll find one that's the most comfortable for you to pull out at that moment.
yeah, the one that fits your body type and the right.
Distance,
Yeah, these
reach.
are like the frames. Like Tom, one time I met with him, he gave me the frame, like the frames, like people in their stances.
Yep.
They hear like if the one you did there coming across like that. I remember him from the frame.
Yeah. That's working off of those different frames. So you can take, now I will tell you this too, a good coach that knows the themes will bring out the themes out of a trainee.
Mm,
Okay. So if I wanted to, and if I wanted to force Lexi, she wants to grab my head with with this hand. And so she goes to do that. I force that. How long does she bind there before that other hand comes out? But I forced that bind. I forced that to come out. Her first intention was to grab my head this way. But now when I put this barrier up and she can't, she has to go to that one. How fast does she switch over?
right.
Now I brought that rear rear to front motion out of her by stopping her front to front motion.
So right, you're saying a good coach will bring it out of you. Right, right.
Yeah, a good coach can get you to go through all the themes. And people say I wouldn't move that way. A good coach, who knows the themes, and that's how basically once I can bring all the themes out of you, then I kind of learn, you know what I mean? It's kind of like my graduation, if you will, in our group to, understanding the themes.
Yeah, no, no. Renee, you got anything?
Just listening. I'm in a quiet mood today.
Any,
Traffic was rough.
Renee's quiet for a change.
Well, here's because Renee, like I said, you've seen it with Tom, you've seen some of the stuff, and Renee coming in green. I'd like to get his thoughts and make sure that I'm somebody that's a newbie that understands where the themes as a methodology, you know what I mean, tie in.
Well, see, I like what I'm seeing, but I have to get over the way I think in order to understand how it works.
Yep.
And when I see some of the engagements you're getting in my head, and I'm not trying to say my way is the way, but when you said you have to know when to pull out, like I don't like being trying to get around someone who's a lot bigger than me. I'm 5'8", right? So when I got someone who's that big, like if I can get my head into their at least on the side of their body, I might decide to step through with almost like a cross leg we were talking before,
Yep.
to spin on them. But unless I start hitting within that range, I usually just say, yeah, I'm gonna shimmy back out. So I like what I see. I'm just trying to figure out how I would use it, and without
Well,
actually having a body, it's kind of difficult.
yeah, well, like I said, on the bag, you would use it on your target. In my solo training, that's why I try to do a couple of things like the footwork and the bag training, the solo training on like I can't work on a bag right now without going through the themes and thinking about the possibilities. You're trying to figure out how to work with it. I'm trying to figure out how I could work. I couldn't work without it. When I look at that bag, I imagine this is the front, this is the front, this is the front, and this is the front every time I go because those are the possibilities that I could run into. So I want to target and put in my head that I'm attacking this way, this way, this way. And then, like I said, whatever I do with my front hand and I use as a weapon, I also do with my rear hand. Whatever I can do with my rear leg, I do with my front leg, and I want to get to the inside because sometimes you sit there and like we talked about that kick, you kind of go, oh, how will I? And it happened to me. When I first started going through my themes, like, how do I get this to over there? Or how do I make that? You find a way to make it happen. And then you may find a better way. You may find a third way, a fourth way. But it shows you the possibilities. And then if you do ever end up in that position, you've got a tool in your toolbox. It's been granted, it may not be the best, but it's something. It's better than you
Yeah,
know.
like, yeah. Oh, we got a question. Maynard, is this for combat sports? John.
Yeah, this is for combat. This is what I use it in combat. You know, like I said, when we talked about having a move, if you have that move through all the positions and you can do that move with, both motions in any position, then you truly have that move. If you can only, and I'm breaking it down so simple, but it really is. If I only can punch with my front and punch to the face with my right hand, and I never use my left hand, then when this hand stops, I won't have this one because I've never developed it. I know I've broken it down so simple, but it really is. That's all it is. It's simplicity, but it's completeness.
So, all right, Maynard's got. So, what experience, combat sports or combatives, inform their perspective? I guess. Sorry, I don't know who he is. So Maynard. So, John. This is John Kupis. He's been with Tom Sotis of AMOK. I'm going to guess a couple decades, if not longer.
Yes, sir.
He took upon himself to Tom expose him four themes, and per Tom, I don't want to speak for John, but Tom's words to me is that him and his training partner Walter really took it to a next level, fully examination of it. Did I miss anything?
No, no, I appreciate him saying that, but it's a beautiful tool that you can, and that's why I really want to get this across without trying to do different techniques. because then you would say, people will say, well, I wouldn't punch like that. I wouldn't strike like that. I don't do eye jabs. You know what I mean? So this way, it's any tool, any weapon, any tool that you use, you're either going to bring it in this motion or you're going to bring it in that motion. You know, going low, it's still a rear motion. If I'm coming from my center line and I'm blocking out, this is still a rear, this is still a front. This is a front. This is a front. This is a rear. This is a rear. There's no other way that I can move my arm. And if somebody wants to come out with a straight line, yeah, you're really never really hitting on a straight line like this. You're going to lean in. You're going to lean out a little way. You're going to come from just your natural punch or trajectory of your punch to the center is bringing it in a front motion. So people that say, "Oh, I might not need that or this," or you're doing it anyway. It's just a way of labeling what you're doing, understanding what you're doing, and making sure you've exhausted the other options. Like I said, they may not be the most comfortable, they may not be the most practical, but they are an option
Right.
when you have, other than and you don't have an option for that moment. That's recovery. And these are the reasons why four themes can provide you, quicker recovery.
Yeah.
How silly is it that people will say something like that? Like I look at all the martial arts, and this is part of the reason we want to do a podcast like this is that we invite people from different arts to show different things. Like, you might not do everything, but there's concepts and philosophies that you might be able to use in, whatever training you do. Like whenever I hear someone say, well, in my system, we don't do that. I would never do that. I guarantee they're on their keyboard wearing MMA gloves as they're, uh, as they're
Yeah.
talking, it drives me bananas. It's like when, we live in that kind of day and age. Like if someone didn't know who Bruce Lee was, they would criticize his movement. It's like,
Mm.
well, in my system, we
Yeah.
wouldn't wear those pants because they make too much noise. It's like
Yeah.
just shut the fuck up.
Oh, he'd be beaten up in everybody's MMA today and, this and that. And he wasn't this and he wasn't that. He was a guy who was way ahead of his time. That's for sure.
There you go. Sum it up in one sentence, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, hey, listen, like I'm open to everything. Like that's why I started training with like a tactical banana. It's
Yeah.
uh, it's it's one of those things that's underrated, and like you
Right.
said, it throws people off. They see this on
Don't
your
don't
belt.
let them, don't let them know about the system coming out. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a secret.
Oh,
It's a secret.
oh. I'm looking forward to, but I guarantee you're going to do a front or a rear motion with your banana.
Well, is there
Well,
be
you know what?
curving? Curving.
Yeah.
But we got a comment. Yes, this is from
But
Brian.
just to add on to this, it is a hidden weapon. Just letting you know.
Yeah. A concealed banana.
Yes,
Were
you
we
can tell by the way people walk.
Yeah.
earning that draw? Dig the footwork with the rear stepping first. Absolutely, Brian. That was nice. So I mean, obviously, this can go. I know you're showing from a methodology, tactic point of view. Insert whatever your art is or what your foundation is, but certainly I can go, wherever striking, go into whatever trapping, rear front, whatever, but also go into clinch or takedowns. Or I mean, it's that evolved, correct?
Okay, so clinch. All right. So now when we clinch, I can be inside her arms. I can be inside outside. I can be inside outside. I can be outside outside. Can you give me another position in clinching?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
See, but that's right. So now if you work every one of your clinching techniques through every one of those four um, positions in your clinch, and you work a technique from each one of those positions, you'll have a toolbox built for every one.
Yeah,
I
but
uh, I went to
where
clinch.
you are.
I went to clinch Dean once, and he broke one of my ribs.
See? So you probably want to not do that. You definitely go outside next time, not inside.
I was
Well,
just minding my own business. I was just
yeah.
giving him a hug, saying hello.
Fake news, fake news, fake news.
But you see, you brought up clinch, and we just took that four themes and applied that to the clinch positions.
Yeah. No, I definitely see it. Like, so if I got outside inside, I go for a throat grab. Maybe my rear leg goes rear. You know what I mean? Right? Yeah.
Can I throw an elbow from every one of those positions?
Yes.
You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. What elbows do I want to work? What angles may be better? Do I want to come up? Do I want to come down? Do I want to come straight across? You know?
Clinching people sideways is a great thing too.
Absolutely. Because that elbow, I love this straight up elbow when people clinch me from the side.
Ooh. Can
You
you? I'm
know?
sorry. Can you?
Huh?
Can you just show? I'm just curious. Where you? Can you? Can Lexi? I guess.
If Lexi grabbed me over here sideways, okay?
Oh, I
Like
got you. Okay.
straight
I
up with this elbow.
got you. Okay. Yeah, yeah, I got you. Um, so Lexi, do you train in this?
Yes, a little bit.
Yeah. So like you're with now, are you still training with Walter?
Yeah.
So you're helping him out and all that. So what's your background? What's Walter teaching you?
Right now I'm doing more American kickboxing.
Okay.
I kind of transferred over to that a little bit the older I got, but
She started in Kempo when she was 4 with Wally.
yeah, I grew up
She's
doing
been there.
Kempo.
With
But
Wally.
Yep.
Poor Wally.
Tim, she's trained with Tim, PCS
Oh,
5
Tim
with
Gillette.
Tim.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
She's got her, go ahead, you tell her. So don't just nod, nod, nod.
I do have my level one instructor in Tim's PCS 5, and
Oh,
we
all right.
go. Dad
Nice.
and I go to a few workshops together.
This one we taught to kill. The other one is a nurse, and she saves lives. This one puts them in jeopardy. So I balanced it out. It's all about
Oh,
balance.
you got one that's a nurse. Oh, that's awesome. All right, all
Yeah,
right, all right. All right. That's yeah, yeah. You're right. You got best of both halves. Right?
that's it. It's balance. They told me it's all about balance, so we balance it out. If I
Well, it
got
looks
one that
like
can cure him, I got to have
you
one that
achieved
can
it.
kill him.
So, so you train. So, wow. So you train a lot. Sounds like
Yeah. Yep.
nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, and you're still helping Wally out. I mean,
Yep.
with the kids.
Yep. Of course.
That's always fun, right?
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
No, I had a school, and the 5 year olds. That was my favorite group. They're nice and innocent. They don't have a mouth yet. They're just you know what I mean? Yeah. So that was my favorite age group. But
Yeah, I had my first experience teaching kids a few weeks back.
that's right, and you enjoyed it.
And I'm always like nervous about teaching kids. Like my my old neighbor one time knocked on my door and had like a bandage on his head. And I
No.
was like, Ray, what happened? He goes, I was going to ask you next time you have your classes in the back, can you tell me? Because I don't want my daughter to see that because we were stick fighting, like full on stick
Yeah.
fighting. And what he was like planting tomatoes or something, and she grabbed a piece of rebar and cracked him in the head. And then after I
Oh.
stopped laughing, I said, I'll let you know. But
Oh, and all you know.
so my daughter goes to a nature school one day a week, and they run through forests and everything else. And the person that runs it found out about dog brothers and everything else, and found out I was a dog brother. And she asked if I would be willing to teach the kids. And I was like, oh, okay. And it ranges from 5 to like 11.
Yeah,
Um, and it was supposed to be 45 minutes. By hour two, we were sparring.
yeah,
And it was like I got everybody to line up and they're sparring me so they're not cracking each other.
yeah.
And then the following week I was coming back, but they asked if I can keep my gear there so they can use it. And like they were just spending hours just like chasing each other with the soft sticks and hitting each other. And
Awesome,
I was
awesome.
like, this is probably the most rewarding class I've had in a very long time.
It is great. And you never go wrong. With the kids, I always look at it as like, we're going to do basics because you can't go wrong with basics. And, people want to chase over the flash and all this. Bring it back to the simplicity of basics, because you'll see it like a lot of times the kids, they advance and then their punch doesn't stay as crisp as it was in the beginning. You know what I mean? So go back and take a look at some of those things.
What I found is that I can teach them through play easier than I can get adults to play. And I think that's what was the big thing for me. It was
Yeah.
like, we're going to play a game, right? And we're just going to hand hunt or head hunt or whatever it was. And like, it was just fun. It's like, we're going to do points or whatever. Like, even like my daughter, when she was 4, she came to one of my classes. And then like she was chasing me with the stick and like, I tripped and I was pretending to be dead. And she grabbed the stick and just like, boom, just sculled me with it.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, a single solitary tear rolls down my cheek. I was so proud.
Oh my god, yeah. I had to cry on the inside because I
Yep.
can't show that. Yeah. I want to stay
Yeah.
hydrated.
I think I like teaching the kids the most because being a female in a male dominant atmosphere,
Mm.
you really show the little girls like it's not just the guys.
Role
Oh yeah.
modeling. Great point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite thing and that's the most rewarding and that's why I've always loved doing it.
That's a great
That's
point.
one of the few females for under Wally from the beginning. So
Yeah, but look what you can do. Like you're instilling these younger females, like
yeah.
being assertive and proactive and confident, and especially
Yeah.
today, man, on social media, it's rough, man. I wouldn't want to be a kid today.
Don't get me started on that bullshit
You know what
because
I mean?
it's
Like
like
the bullying
every
and all
second
that.
video is some girl shaking her butt, and it's like what like again whatever floats your boat. But when these young kids see this, like, what are they going to think?
That's the
That's all I'm
role. I
good
know the
for?
role modeling or lack
Fuck
thereof. But
that.
like
Yeah.
something Lexi's saying, like you get some kids in there and you're
I
showing some good values.
listen.
Yeah.
Hmm?
My daughter's 9, and like whenever I get a chance, like I show her videos of like women who are strong, whether it be like competitive like fishing or like jujitsu or Mulek, the sports shooter, like whatever you can, right? And it's like, yeah, you can do it. There's going to be differences, but that's what you train for.
Yeah. No, they do, too. The girls, they all light up. When she walks in and she comes into class, everybody is so happy. The parents are so happy to see her. Everybody's so happy
Awesome.
to
Oh,
see
good,
her.
fantastic. Wally's got a good one there. Yeah,
That's-
that's rewarding. If you're making an impact on young females, especially man, just everything, the pressure, social media pressure for some of these young kids and all that. It's just
Their belt tests are all picture day, for her. So has to take a picture with every kid when they get their new belts. And
Yeah.
it is, though. But she's
yeah.
done it a long time,
I'm gonna tell you though, those kids are gonna remember you. Seriously, when they grow up, they're gonna remember the profound impact that you had on them. They will,
And that's what I show up for.
Yeah,
It's the
they
whole
will.
reason.
They will. They will. When they grow up, they will remember you. I promise you that.
You
That's
know
how.
what, Dean? Dean, maybe we should have a show one day of people, men, women that teach kids. And
I think it'd be fantastic. We can get Lexi
in
on.
what what they do, and just kind of like go
Actually, no, I
through it.
would. We could bring. I have a multitude of reasons I could bring Lexi on. We could bring her on in a male-dominated sport. How do you do? What were some of the maybe initial resistance, or was there anxiety because you were around a bunch of guys and all that? But I think that is a subject matter right there that's really good. Like females participating in a male-dominated,
Yeah.
right?
No, I have a story. If you don't mind, if I tell it, I'm gonna
Oh,
tell you anyways. I was at a
they didn't say yes.
I was I was at an event once, and this gal was beating the tar out of this dude, like just absolute beating him. They hit the ground. She submitted him. Stands up, goes to shake his hand. The guy takes his mask off and starts to explain what could have gone better for her. And I walked up. I'm like, dude, you fucking lost, man. That's the end of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That is great. So Lexi, you'd come on?
Yeah. Yeah, of
I think we
course.
could cover a bunch of stuff. A young, like what were you young? You're in 20s, right?
I'm 23 right now, yeah.
Yeah, 23, young 20s. That's making a difference there. How you got, how you built confidence for you. Obviously, I think there's a bunch of stuff we can like.
We got such a young panel today. Dean's like 34.
I wish.
Oh, I meant in dog years.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm dust.
Yeah.
Always, but all right. Anything you want to wrap up with, John?
If there's something else that I could show you, like I said, my goal was to try to get Renee to understand, the methodology of 4 themes and how, because I felt like an idiot when you guys put me on the spot last time and I
Oh,
lost the
you
word
did great.
methodology.
Dean put you on the spot. I was just sitting here looking at you,
No,
and I said to
no,
myself, And I kept thinking to myself, that man's a giant.
Yeah.
Told
I
you.
was I was using the door as a reference. I'm like, my God, that guy's big.
So much
He's
fun.
a big teddy bear. He's a big
Yeah.
teddy bear.
So much fun grappling with him too, with an edged weapon. It's really fun.
Absolutely.
Actually, that's a. Would you be able to like show us something with a weapon or stick or a knife or anything that you have there?
As far as
Anything like using what you just showed us.
well, I
Oh,
mean, there is,
here's a suggestion, John.
yeah,
If you don't already have an idea, could you go maybe the four themes, earn a draw or something? Mhm.
to get my draw.
I'm saying maybe you got four themes, you got attack. Maybe you're defending with four themes from whatever you're teaching, and then maybe go to a draw, a weapon, or whatever you want to share. If you have a
Well,
better idea,
no, I mean, it's we can use this, I guess.
but
But I mean, as far as I, the technique, is that what you know what I mean? As guys are looking for.
or whatever you want to do, we'll take it.
All right, but my so no, you're gonna pull it up and say if oh okay, we'll try a pass. Okay, four themes pass. So when she comes in, all right, I'm gonna do my pass rear motion. Okay, to the outside. Okay, so she comes in. I've done my pass for my front motion to the outside. Okay, now when she comes in, I'm gonna do my pass rear motion to the inside. I'm going to do my pass rear front motion to the inside. She comes over the top. I'm doing my front motion to the inside. Over the top, I'm doing my rear motion to the inside. Comes over the top, my front motion to the outside. Over the top, my rear motion to the outside. Is that kind of
Yeah,
what you're looking for? Like I said, I don't want to get techniques
Yeah,
in there.
actually, you know what? You just cleared up for me in my head when I was looking at that. I started realizing how you can use your rear leg to get around to their rear leg. Because when you're passing over, now you can really step with that awkward step to get in behind.
Right, and you find that because you're going through them. You can almost see what the next comfortable move is. If I step, go ahead, over, right? Now let's just say, now I've done my rear motion. This leg's here, boy, this knee comes in really comfortable into this middle.
Yeah.
You know, these are the things that you find. Well, maybe I want to come up higher with my knee and I'll go to that midsection. Do I want to follow it through with an elbow? You know, and so now my rear to the inside off of that, you know, because this hand's tied up.
mm, awesome. Yeah, I dig it. I thought you.
Did that help with your
Yeah.
question, like the
Yeah. It actually just,
demonstration?
you know what? It was the reference that I needed to clear up the footwork going around. So, yeah, perfect. That was actually perfect.
You know, when we take that positions, like I said, your motions, then your positioning, then you know your attack after that. And what I was trying, you know, like was trying to say, when this puts into recovery, no matter what Lexi does to me, if she whatever she pulls out, okay, so there's my rear motion to the outside. Now I had to block. Now I have to strike. So my rear front comes right out because she's got resistance on this. So as fast as that comes out, if I wanted now if I was attacking her, I would come straight in like this and there would be no hiccup in the middle. There would be no stop. But when she attacks me with whatever and I have to stop, now do I come in here? Do I come in here? Do I go outside? Inside? Do I pass? All of these things that I've trained from just you off of my rear motion.
Yeah, I dig it. I thought it was presented well. You went from a without showing techniques, just the methodology based on what you can certain. I think that's a breath of fresh air. Folks are watching this; they can play around with it, but they can insert whatever their major is or what they specialize in, right?
And I'll tease you guys just a little bit. I'm not going to go crazy into this, but we talked about being on the outside, right? So my outside motion here. Well, this is my splits.
Mm.
My split to the inside. I'm half outside, half inside. You have your splits in, in the four themes in the amount. So your split hits, my switches, because after I pull my first, my split, then I switch. So it can get a little bit more involved after that, but my goal was to take Renee, who had never seen four themes and had never known anything, and get him to understand the methodology and how I was we can overlay pretty much anything we do. And if you
Well,
take it through the positions and you do it with all the motions, you should pretty much have that move from anywhere you could possibly be.
well, see, like one of the things I really like to do is to spear in, or when someone's running at me, to spear him.
Yep.
And I can see how I can use all that off that spear now.
Yeah. So now you've just given yourself probably a good, easy half hour, but you could get into an hour of different things that you can come off of that spear with. Being to the inside, being to the outside, being with your feet inside, being with your feet outside. You know,
Spear collapse the elbow. There's all kinds of
exactly.
crazy.
And your positioning.
There's this one
Can you get that spear when
split.
they're beside you like this? How do you get this spear now? Instead of coming in straight like this, I have to come in here. You see what I'm saying? So now when I put that in different positions and I've taken it through, then I truly have the spear. I don't just have the spear like this.
Yeah, it's funny because I don't tend to spear straight in. I actually tend to
Yeah.
spear at an angle.
Okay.
And when Dean and I were playing, I remember it was almost getting to a clinch, and I speared in, and he goes, "That's a spear." It's like
Yeah.
because
As I'm getting speared, that's a spear.
Yes.
and because for me, the spear leads to my clinch, leads to my elbows, and all kinds of other craziness. Or if you want to go into the side mount, where you do like cracking ribs with your forearm and all that stuff. So now I'm starting to get the wheels turning. So I got some material to work on.
You slide up into your head and arm,
Yep,
So and then that takedown, where do you have to position your legs for certain things? Like we talked about that PK. That you can do it from every position, but your legs can't always stay the same if you're going to get that through because your leg will get in your way on certain positions.
that'd be so nasty for a suplex.
Exactly.
Mm.
Not that I've done that to anybody. I'm just saying.
No, of course not.
But you
No.
you
I,
can
I
now you
saw I
don't have
saw a
one
video.
suplex, you have four suplexes.
Yep.
You know,
Hey, Renee, when I come up in September, we can play around.
absolutely. I come down and
Hey, you
see
know
you
what? I
guys.
clean my basement out, so there's no cobwebs or
Is there
junk
anything for
anymore.
me to ambush me to trip on or trip
Yeah.
over or run
Just
into?
this wire.
I'm like clearing
just
things out.
yeah, just this piano wire at the bottom of the stairs.
Yeah, jeez. I'm trying to
It's
call
like
you.
it's like the danger room for the X-Men. This is like the
Mhm.
danger room that you buy on Timu or Wish.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just got like kids' toys and junk,
Yeah. No, I'm not
cobwebs,
going down there. I'm not going down there. We'll work outside.
and then
I'm
it's
not
like
going there.
and then
Good advice.
I gave Dean my heavy mask,
Hmm.
and
This
so he
thing
can just
is
like
like, what is it? What generation is that even?
that's a first gen. That mask is
First
like
gen fencing mask. It's like tinfoil.
Yep.
yeah,
I
actually,
got-
Mark wore it when I was doing that seminar, and he took a glance, like just a small hit off the ear, and he like cauliflowered his ear.
You know what I love the most about the stick in them is when the stick grinds by your mask and you smell the smoke and the wisp of smoke comes into your mask from that. That's,
I I got a picture of a stick hitting me like right across the face, and then when I got off the mats, the back of my head was split, and the stick was like pliable. Actually, like hit me in the back of the head. It was
oh,
pretty cool. Yeah.
yeah.
Or in 2009, I was at a training camp, and the guy hit me with a stick, and it seemed like it was grinding across my mask, and all the sawdust kind of went in my eyes.
Yep. Yeah, there's that wisp of sawdust. There's usually a little smoke, and it's like aromatherapy. Gets
If
the
you
blood going.
if you burn the nodes on your sticks,
Hmm.
and you go outside at night and hit the sticks, and if they hit the nose, they'll actually spark.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
I know I've done sparking with machetes. You know, we've trained with the machetes, and you get sparks, and you'll get wisp of smoke, and you'll get them where they actually stick together, and you have to like
Oh,
yank
the
the steel
fine.
back apart. Yeah.
I had something crazy happen in a class once. I can tell the story now because I don't teach there anymore. But I had two Thai swords that I had sent from Thailand from our trainers out there, and they're like really, really like they're meant for like demos, and you hit them sparks everywhere, and everybody goes ooh ah right. And
Yep.
these two kids, like the guy, he went to hit, and they both hit, and the sword broke, and it just flew past his head, and
Uh,
he was like this. I was like, no, that's a good thing. That means you graduated to the second level.
yeah.
And the
Congratulations.
guy that owns the gym, he's like running over.
Yep.
It's
I've
like,
seen that with sticks a few times. Like, hey, I thought those weren't supposed to come apart like that. But
oh,
Oh,
hardwood sticks. There's a time there where I wanted to test how hardwood sticks are in fights. They really suck.
yeah.
And I had a cane fight with a friend of mine, and the canes broke, and we were using like the jagged cane parts. Like, uh, yeah, that was a crazier one.
Yep.
But now I'm much more mellow, much more
Absolutely.
relaxed.
It's the way kids do that to you.
yeah.
Yeah, sometimes,
No.
sometimes.
Yeah. But
Unless
you
you know
know, there's a
they hang out with their aunt and they get 4 pounds of sugar and they drop them off. And
yeah. But it's the vulnerability that we have as dads. You know what I mean? Because now it's not, you can't just say, you could hurt me way worse with me not even being in the room. You know what I mean? And those are the things that, you know,
it kind of
man.
cured my road rage.
Yeah,
It's like,
absolutely. Well, I tell you
you
what, I
know,
think about the end game.
I'll still write down their license plate.
Yeah.
I'll be like, sorry,
I cannot
sorry, I didn't mean to do
believe,
that.
I
Renee, that
used to be
you.
pull over, pull over. Now it's like I can't do it because, you know, like I said, I'm
It's
not going to
just
come home.
consequences, man.
Yeah.
It's just, you know what I mean? Nobody's owning my house, man, because they flipped me off. You know what I mean?
Right, because they said something mean words to me, you
You
know?
know what I mean?
Well, you know what's
No.
crazy though? Like, especially here in Canada, what I found, and I'm speaking from experience. Um, People will try to instigate you, right? And they'll push, 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 push. And when you push back a little bit,
They're the victim.
when you get home, the cops will be waiting for you.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
And
and I've had that
then,
happen a couple times, unfortunately. But you know what's really good? Keep a couple tabs of Alka Seltzer in your cup holder.
hmm
And when you have someone who has like a bit of road rage, just pop one of those in. You start frothing.
pull over, wave.
Oh my God.
But now I blow them kisses. I don't yell pull over anymore. You know what I mean? I
It's
wave, I
just not
smile.
worth it, man.
No,
End up
no.
in civil court. You know what I mean? And
But that was the ability of being able to see it through to the end instead of letting that blind rage take over. And like you said, I don't want to come home and tell my wife that, oh, we're going to
oh, by the
court
way, we might be
tomorrow.
losing our house and
Yeah.
our savings because I chased somebody down and followed them into their
Because
parking.
he said the F word, hon. You
Hey,
know,
I can't pick up the kids today. Can you do it for
yeah,
me?
right.
Yeah, and I need about 3 grand for bail.
Yep, for
Love
bail.
you.
Yeah. And the car was towed and yeah, on and on. It's not worth it.
No, 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 no,
Oh,
no.
when Dean was here, he was yelling at people out the window of the car, just yelling at them all.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Fake news, fake news,
Yeah.
fake news. He is the equivalent to CNN.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, window was open. He's like, Canada sucks. He's like flipping people off. I was like,
Yeah.
Dean,
Yeah.
relax.
I gotta live in this town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fake news. Oh my gosh. Uh, well,
So, do you guys have? So you guys have classes going on a regular basis? You want to guys tell us where your classes are and
John, you
and
teach Sundays, right, John?
What's that?
You teach Sundays, right?
Yep. Sundays we got a group class that I mean, where that class is, I would meet somebody if they ever wanted to get involved in the Massachusetts area. Rhode Island area. If they ever wanted, I'd work with them on Saturdays, kind of bring them up to speed before we could introduce them to Sundays. You know what I mean? Because the guys, everybody just kind of gets together, and it's the beauty of the brotherhood. You have to make sure, it's almost like a vetting process, if you will, because we don't want to go backwards on Sundays to bring somebody else along. We would do that, but if they don't hang out or they don't stay, now we've lost 4, 5, 6 weeks of our training trying to take somebody along. So I would spend time with people, you know what I mean, on a Saturday afternoon or, mornings or something like that. Even I've been doing some stuff on Friday nights now with some, mitts and target training and different mitt drills. So, if somebody wanted to train with that and to get into that Sunday group, that would be how we'd have to go about that. But Lexi teaches, with Wally on Tuesdays and Thursday nights and Sam Saturday mornings. And good.
Yeah, it's more kids class, and then we kind of have the adult kickboxing.
She
And
was the very first candidate on Tim Gillette's Sensei swap.
yeah,
Where they would send, that was a little thing Tim came up with where he would take senseis from other school, bring them to his school, and send his over to their schools.
Oh no! How interesting. Oh,
That's Tim, though. You know what I mean? He's Tim Gillette's always got something.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah. I know.
he does a lot of great stuff with the kids in his community, and you
He
know
just
what I
does
mean,
great
things like
stuff.
that.
Period. Oh yeah.
Well, listen, I'm gonna see if I can get one of these to you.
Is that
I
a
can't make any
banana in your
promise.
hand? Are you happy to see me?
Well,
It's both. It's
and I'll
both.
send you a. I'll also send you a one. I have a friend of mine, and and we were in Spain at a seminar, training camp, and he was laughing. So I took a picture, and I made it into an air freshener. So I'll I'll see if I can send one of those to you as well.
Oh, I very much appreciate it.
Well, I'm here. It's a small way of saying thank you for sharing your knowledge.
No, hey, whatever helps, and we're all in this together. That's what Mark is, a brotherhood, and unfortunately, we lost a brother this week. You
Oh,
know,
sorry to hear that.
yeah, passed away, and it's tough. So,
I didn't. Who? I didn't hear.
and no, it was a friend of mine, well, a member of Mark, Keith Pine. Um, he's had some demons and some issues,
Oh,
but
so long ago, AMOK?
no, he probably dropped out of training with us on Sundays almost a year ago. He was doing other things, going to school and trying to get his life back together, and things fell apart for him.
I'm sorry to hear. Oh,
No, it is, but it's why we only got each other, and and part of me is upset that he didn't reach out. Earlier we did what we could to try to help, but when you have a brotherhood like a Mark, like Thomas built, if Dean knows, if he called me and needed me there tomorrow, I'm going there tomorrow. I don't have to ask what for or whatever.
or vice
He's
versa.
my brother and he asked me to come. I'm going, and we wouldn't be alone. You know what I mean? We come together. And that's when one of us is in need, we support each other.
Yeah, there's
That's
nothing like
awesome.
And
That's really awesome. Because like when I call Dean, sometimes he just forwards it right to like voicemail, and then
yeah.
and then when I call right back, I hear the number you have dialed is not in service.
And it sounds an awful lot like Dean. If you'd like
Yeah,
to leave a
exactly.
message at the
The-
beep,
And there's a dog barking in the background.
it's,
He's like, quiet. I don't want him to call me.
it's Renee again. Come on. No,
Don't
but
encourage him.
it's so true, John. The brotherhood of Muck is not like none other.
yeah, Wally, Tim, uh, Gerard, all these guys that I train with and work out with, Bob, G, and all Don and E, and my
Especially you
boss is an
guys out
Amok.
there. Especially
I
out
work for an Amok brother. You know what I mean? So it's all. And the last thing I'd ever want to do is let him down. We don't let each other down. We do the best we can to. to be there, and that even to commit to our training. It's like that Sunday group is a small group, but we all know that we need to be there for each other. You
Yeah.
know, because that's how we all get better.
All joking aside, that's with a lot of the Dog Brothers. I will say a lot of them. Like if we find out someone just made full dog, but I've never met him,
Mhm.
people will call and congratulate them. Or if they find out, like when I was in Spain, taking care of my mom's husband who got getting rid of the squatters. Like people just got together and got some money together so I could, like keep going because I had to be out there for almost a month.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's when you're in a like-minded community that has the same goals. Like, and listen, we're not always going to get along, but in the end, if we stick to the, what we actually believe in, it's a beautiful thing.
right. No, it is, and it's it's touching, and it's that I have the biggest compliment I can pay another man is to tell him that I trust him with my family. There isn't a guy that I work out with that I don't have that trust in. Like Wally sees Lexi probably more than I do these days. You know what I mean? Uh, you know, Oki, all the other guys, Mr. Solitude, Tom. If I ever called Tom and said, "Hey, my daughter's going down to Florida, do you think you could check in on her or something?" He'd be there.
Yeah.
And it goes both ways. There's been things up here that he's needed to take care of that I've gone and take care of for him. And it's just it's nice to know that you're not alone. You know what I mean? Sometimes, and that's usually when people get screwed up and the things go awry. Is when you think you're alone and you got nobody to turn to.
No.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No.
I don't really trust Dean with my dog too much. Um,
That dog loves me. So
Yeah.
he's just jealous that the dog.
That's
I was
probably
sitting
it.
over there. The dog was outside my door,
Yeah.
open up in the morning, and who was right there? He's just jealous the dog was taken to me.
Yep.
well,
That's
kind of,
good. The
like
treats.
I feed this dog. I give it shelter, and it's like I call her over, like Penelope, come here, and she looks at me like, yeah, whatever. So
When she
I have
sees,
feelings too, Dean.
when
Yep.
she sees a picture of me or on here,
That's it. Uncle Dean's here. Uncle Dean's here. Sorry, Dad.
telling you, got the flying kiss.
Yep.
Oh, that was beautiful. I wish I could have recorded that.
You know, Boston Terrier flying kiss.
Yeah.
She jumped sideways, jumped off the side of the couch, passed his face, turned her head, and gave a kiss.
You couldn't
Bet you
like.
never had one of these.
Yeah,
And
I'm telling you.
the dog's 12 years old, but she's like, she's a menace. I love it.
Yeah, the dog is
Awesome.
so. The dog is.
Every kid should grow up with a dog. I honestly believe they know. They know. They've got their love of animals from me.
Yeah,
For
we got a
sure.
couple, obviously. So, yeah.
Yep.
Um, awesome, guys. Well, hey, well, I appreciate you coming on. Lexi, I'll definitely, matter of fact, we got to get Dwight back on part two, Steve Brody part two, and then I'm thinking like 3 weeks, Lexi, around there. I
Okay.
mean, I would definitely give you enough notice, right?
All right.
Yeah. And
Awesome.
bring you to the torture chamber. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, that'd be
I
awesome.
hope that that was enlightening and gave
I
you
was.
guys, like I said.
Hell yeah, for
Hell yeah.
sure.
Yeah, yeah. Very enlightening.
Like I said, I was quiet at the beginning because I was trying to process it, but now I'm kind of like, it makes sense.
In a sense, it's so easy that it's simple, but it does, you can see the completeness. And now then when you know it, like I said, you can see the parts that maybe you're missing. And it's like, well, gee, I don't have anything for that rear outside. I got to find something for that.
Yeah, everything is easy. It's doing it well. That's the hard part, right? And like
Right.
even something as simple as an angle one with a stick. And people see that it's like, oh, that's easy, and then they're doing like the Harry Potter wand as they're
Yeah. And the arms way out here, and you're
yeah,
like, no, 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 no. That's not what I did. Yeah, it is. No, it's not. you know?
yeah, they're attacking you like you owe them money and stuff. It's like everybody relax.
Right.
All
Awesome.
right,
All right, guys. Well, hey, you take care. Thank you again.
yeah,
Thank
that was
you.
awesome.
All right. You take
All
care,
right.
Lexi. I'll be in touch.
All right,
All
and
right.
Thank you.
I'll need your address so I can send you that air freshener,
Okay.
and
And the
I'll
banana.
see what. I'll have to call my buddies in Europe to see if they can get me any more tactical bananas.
Thank you very much.
All right,
I'll send a friend request out right away.
you got it, brother.
All right, brother.
AMOK.
Stay
All
safe,
right,
guys,
all
and
right, take
I'm
care.
here if you need me. Thank you.
Thank you.
That went well. Man, I liked it. As a matter of fact, he cleared up some. Like I had worked with him before on that, but still, it was some stuff that he touched on that I wasn't there for the first time. So.
I was having I wasn't having a hard time following it. It was just I was trying to wrap my mind around what he was doing, and it wasn't until I started kind of thinking about what I do or how I like to do things,
Right.
especially when he did the weapon thing. That's when it clicked with me. I was like, oh shit, okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
now
There's
I
some
get it.
definitely, but obviously a matrix, if you will, or that you can apply. I mean, I think probably anywhere, right? I mean,
Yep.
you know. So yeah, next week I think we got. I can reach out to Dwight, see if he wants to do the part two, and Steve Grody said he'd be willing to do his because we with Steve Grody we didn't get through the second half of his questions, which I still have.
Yeah, I've so I think Adam Siegmiller's also launched his stuff.
So you
So
couldn't get him. I think we need to get Lexi on.
yeah,
Young female. I think that'd be refreshing. Right? Also, as always, I will be in touch. And there, please say hi to my girl for me, Penelope. Okay, please
she's actually scratching at the door right now.
let her know that I'm here. I haven't abandoned her.
I'm gonna get her a doll with your face on it.
All right, man. I'll be in touch.
All right, okay, brother.
Okay, take care. All right, that wraps up 21. Yeah, so you already heard it. Who's coming out next week? FMA discussion. Yes, I'm hoping next Monday. Bring on two guys to talk about Modern Nice, kind of the old material, if you will, and how it maybe evolved. The art within your arts. Was it the art within your art back then? How'd that come about? So I think it'd be pretty interesting. So we'll know that soon. As always, it will be pinned or featured in FMA discussion. You can check that out. And also, folks, if you have any suggestions as far as either show, podcast for folks to come on, I don't care about the big names. If you look at FMA discussion, they're all big names. So if you got something to offer and you want to talk about, just reach out to me. I'll bring anybody on as long as you're not toxic. So just keep that in mind. But I will see you next time.